Right, welcome back everyone to the Cast and Decerux and Roodood here to bring you into your final journey of this game number 3, Illinois State University versus UT Austin. And I mean, what are we going to talk about right now, Rood? It's going to be a Lowy. It's going to be a Lowy. That was disgusting.
I think it seems only fitting. Yeoun had an absolutely amazing performance, was dominant from start to finish, absolutely bean-boozled Disconnector, really had his number at every given turn and was able to take turrets, objectives, everything set up for the team to win that game pretty much off the back of their own right. It's not to say that the rest of UT Austin didn't have a good game. They facilitated this Alawi incredibly well. They consistently made map movements on the other side where the Alawi wasn't. But if that Alawi wasn't making all of these big moves, then all of those map movements would have been for nothing or just impossible to make.
And some of those plays, man, some of those solo kills, I still feel bad for Disconnector on the back end of those. Just watching him try
the triple slap.
The triple slap was the worst. Like I felt for him in that one. It wasn't his best performance, but he's capable of more. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring for this next one. Now that we've seen UT Austin show their hand with this Alawi, how exactly are Illinois State University going to find that?
Well, they're going to swap sides first of all.
Already a difference.
They take themselves a red side pick, which suggests a little bit that we could well be seeing a DrewDozer special. We've seen Zed once already this series. We may also see Alawi because if Illinois State don't have a better blind pick than Kha'Zix and they don't also ban away the Alawi, then they need to find an answer. They can either ban the Alawi and go for Kha'Zix blind again, or they can have a different blind that they think will do a bit better into the Alawi. We'll have to obviously keep our eyes on that, and the top lane matchup itself could very well be again as instrumental in deciding the matchup as we saw from game number 2. But with these sides being swapped, we'll have to see, if the Rengar ban stays blue side, stays on Illinois State. There's a lot of differences to a dragon. You just flip the script essentially. Senna Heimerdinger, something that we've seen. They got to get rid of it.
That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to talk about those two, the Senna Heimerdinger. If this does change now that we do have the side swap, I don't know. This is a weird one for UT Austin. With the drafts that they've done so far, I don't exactly know what they're going to prioritize for their B1. Just because in the last games, it's been, a little bit more on the wild side of things. I don't remember the game 1 first pick, but, we had the game 2, which was straight into the misfortune. James found away, Rengar taken off.
Game 1 was ISU first picking Zinzao for GFP, and then game 2 was obviously the Xayah first pick after it not being banned, so with UT Austin having their effectively first blue side pickup for the series, this is completely uncharted territory essentially for us. Looking at the AD carries, Xayah is still open. It looks like if this Wukong doesn't get banned, because we saw on that bot side that there was all around a dragon where YellowBumbleBee actually hard carried, and it was off the back of this Wukong. That creative use of the new Wukong dash to get over walls was incredibly obnoxious and did catch out Yen a couple of times. So getting rid of the Wukong here does make a lot of sense. First pick of choice for UT Austin. There's a lot on the board. Xayah was what it was in the last game. We've had Zinzao before. We'll have to see what they go for this time round.
I'm waiting for the other thing that's on the board right now. Misfortune locked in, which is not the biggest surprise there.
I think it cancels out the other thing as well.
No!
A little bit.
You're
a little
right,
bit.
Rude. Why? We gotta mention that. Okay, so, my hopes and dreams are crushed. MF gets locked in first, but a Karthus getting locked in for ISU.
A little bit cheeky. So Jungle Karthus did get a little buff in this patch as well, got an extra 10% damage to the monsters in the jungle, so we could very well see GFP try and pull this one out and go for a super scaling jungler that just one-shots ADCs, mid laners and top laners alike when we hit that level 16 marker. We've had a couple of those already. We reach late game and we just win, and it looks like ISU, they're doubling down on that, right? Ezreal late game team fighting can be incredibly obnoxious. Never mind!
Yes, baby! They grabbed it! Heimerdinger's locked in for UT Austin. They're gonna let it slip right through the draft, so finally, we're gonna get to see this in work.
I was curious because normally, right, we'd seen this paired with the Senna, and they let the Senna fast, and then you get farming Heimerdinger, you get Senna getting those souls, and it's a lovely, beautiful synergy. But this time with the Senna banned away, I was like, well, maybe they don't go for the Heimerdinger. Whether this goes support, whether this goes to a solo lane, I don't think it matters. We've got a Heimerdinger, we've got a Kha'Zix, we've got Karthus.
This is all. This is it.
What do we
The gloves
say?
are off.
What do we
The
say?
gloves are off.
Yeah,
The gloves
that's
are
true.
off.
Pick the guess the next pick. You will have a much higher chance at randomly rolling a champion this time, just based off this draft.
Vigar, I don't know.
Vigar, we got okay. Hey, you know what? That was cruelty. I'll be fair, but you know this draft so far has been essentially that, right? Pick a champion, and we'll see where we land, right? Let's roll the dice. And so far, late game scaling is the key for ISU, and right now UT Austin, they're heavily indexing into just oppressive laning phases and making sure that you don't play the game early on.
All right. So for the playoffs, I just got the stat right now. I want to kind of throw it around with you as a little bit of trivia. Karthus has been played once between these two teams for the entirety of playoffs. Who played it?
Do you want team or player?
Player.
Yen.
Naas.
Oh, I knew it was going to be bot lane. I knew it was going to be bot lane. I got it wrong. That's unlucky. All right. You know what? Next time. It
was a good guess going for Yen on that one. But yeah, opposite side of the map. Did go to Naas, and I believe he played it in the Winthrop game where they unfortunately got a 3-0 in the process.
Oh, okay, so we brought it up to Flame Naas. I like it. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. He picked this champion, and they got destroyed. That's the stat that we've got for you. We did get a second ban phase, Decerux. It's probably worth mentioning that top laners got banned, mid laners got banned, but Corki gets picked up. I mean, in case.
Oh, I'm excited for this one.
In case there was any doubt, I mean, it's late game, right? ISU, they've got scaling. If we get past 25 minutes or so, UT Austin, they're in a pretty rough spot.
Okay, we're getting rapid fire picks right now, but I want to go back to...
Who is support?
I want to go back to the Corki lock-in.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is such a DrewDozer pick. Last year, when everyone was jumping off the DrewDozer train, the Corki train, DrewDozer was like, nah, this is my pick. The Corkster, man. People are sleeping on the Corkster. He's one of the mid laners who has just refused to put it down, but it's because he's so effective at utilizing the package for those dragon fights and scaling up for the late game. DrewDozer looks phenomenal when he's on the Corki, as long as he gets past the laning phase, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's perfectly valid, because I also thought that the Corki nerfs weren't as substantial as teams made him out to be. I do still think that if you get around at the right time, when you can make those plays on the package at those Drake timings, you can just completely affect the entire match and the outcome. But it's now time to move past the Corki, because we did get a Heimerdinger, but we got his support. And I made the joke about fasting Jinx, but unironically, it's being paired with an ADC that wants to farm. So is this just Heimerdinger support? Outright, flat, base just going for rocket poke, no engage?
Okay, I'm not too sure if we could get something like an MF support. Just because Naas and Just Chatting have flipped the script a lot in terms of their roles. Just looking at some of the champions that Naas has played. Karthus, Zyra. You look at Just Chatting, Maokai, Ashe, Sona, Senna.
There's so much potential.
It's a flip, man. It's a flip with them. You really don't know who's going to be the support at the
Okay,
end
so
of this.
I'm going to do what they call a little bit of analysis, right? We'll give some context. Heimerdinger sucks here. And that's because Heimer wants to have champions that walk into him and that he does not get outranged by. Ezreal, Karma, Corki, Karthus can all destroy his turrets, can all get rid of his main DPS source without ever getting touched by them, right? You have rockets that can outrange, you can have a bomb that maybe outranges but it's an incredibly hard skill shot to hit. Just Chatting has to be the most proficient Heimerdinger that we have seen in the collegiate scene for him to be pulling this out basically blind, and he did get punished for it. But there's a very real possibility that, if you pick this Heimer and you go for it blind, you have to have the confidence. You have to be able to say, it does not matter what you pick, you can pick the hardest counter matchup, I'll still find a way to win. And I feel like this is one of the worst places for him to get Heimer.
They played it in every series of playoffs so far.
Right.
They were committed to keeping the trend, Root. They were just committed to keeping the trend at the grand scheme of things.
And I can respect that. If you're going down with tradition, that's the ruling. That's fair.
And I want to throw back to what we had said at the start of this cast, where Crynow was saying that he doesn't feel like enough teams have punished their style of play.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing this style of play against ISU, so this is the gauntlet thrown down. This is their final chance to really show that they've found those adaptations that they've had during the regular season, during the conference playoffs, that they can get towards that standard. And 1-1 each, game point, you know, this could really go either way.
We have ultimately, right, this is still triple ADC with Karthus on ISU side up against, we didn't even touch on Ekko mid lane, Kha'Zix jungle, right? Those two picks just got thrown in there. These are double assassins up against 3 marksmen, up against a Karthus, incredibly immobile and tends to be susceptible champions to getting taken down. The safety aspect of the ISU composition comes from a mobility spell on each of those marksmen plus a Karma. Nausicääa's got a massive mantle on their shoulders this game to try and keep everybody alive, particularly Disconnector, who last game had a pretty rough time, but this time on the Graves is going to be trying to go a bit dive oriented, right? Graves loves to be able to go into the backline and cause chaos for the likes of Naas this time round. He's going to be trying to do that in the face of a Kha'Zix, an Ekko, and an Ornn, getting past those. And if you know, lo and behold, do get access to this Misfortune, surely there's going to be some turrets around.
All right, so the guaranteed last game of the day, Illinois State University versus UT Austin. Let us know in Twitch chat who you think is going to take the dub. It is match point either way. Going to proceed to the top 16 of this tournament if you can take the dub. Otherwise, be the bottom 32 taking it home.
In true game 3 fashion, why do we not try to flip the game at level 1? As ISU do go for that complete 5-man invade onto, you know, granted just the bot brush, not too much overextension from them. They say that there's nobody there and they're going to default back to the, not necessarily 5-point, and, you know, fair play to them because UT Austin don't capitalize on this. They've not gone into the top side jungle. They've not got any deep vision of their own to trade back up against what ISU have just done, which is, you know, still not get too much vision of their own in the bot side. They're going to do quite nice movements and sort of stack their way through the top side just in case. But something else that I want to quickly point out is that it is a Karthus with exhaust, no flash. So if you get caught out by one person, you can exhaust them and you tend to be able to fight that 1v1 fairly easily. But if more than 1 or 2 people jump on you, you have nowhere to go and you can't exhaust all 3 of them.
Should be being on this Karthus, there's a lot more damage to complement this Karthus on top of that. Again, it's a triple ADC composition. You've taken so many marksmen on the side of Illinois State University. The challenge is going to be getting through that early game and getting them online, but if it's possible, if you do have that successful early game, this mid game could look pretty good for Illinois State University, even just for the cleanup crew for anyone who's able to stay alive in the back end of these team fights.
Yeah, because they've got so much just back-end long-range damage to come through. If it's a Mystic Shot, if it's a Rocket from DrewDozer, there's plenty of angles where ISU can just find those cheeky little pickoffs, those cheeky snipes that you may not have expected, may not see coming necessarily. Now to quickly, you know, highlight what is currently obvious, that we have got just chatting playing hardcore support Heimerdinger. Has that spell Thief's Edge? You know, gone for the Arcane Comet as his rune choice, the Ignite as well. It's not going to be farming farming Heimerdinger with, you know, fasting Misfortune or whatever shenanigans we may have potentially alluded to. So Naas does get access to, you know, all the creeps, going to be working his way nicely up on this Misfortune, which is the champion that they won their match on for Naas. And outside of that, it's a complete switch of the script for UT Austin for Game 3.
So is the name of the game going to be using the Heimerdinger ultimate just to get the stun for more engages? Because that's what I could see being the follow-through for UT Austin. You know, Call the Forge God, the engage, the team fight potential is there. I could also see it being used for the turret, given how aggressive Illinois State will be in some of these skirmishes towards the mid-game. But they're also range in that aspect. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is, Illinois State never want to get in range of anything of UT Austin, right? They want to stay out of the range of the assassins, and most importantly, they never want to be in range of those Heimerdinger turrets. If there's an empowered turret going down, then you know that you've done something wrong to begin with. So they have this extremely, you know, kite-oriented composition where if Corki Ezreal can stay at a safe distance, they will largely be fine. So I think that you're quite right. You know, you hit the nail on the head to begin with, that empowered bomb is going to be how they start off these fights.
Ooh. A steal coming in from YellowBumbleBee. 200 health remains. Will try and contest onto Disconnector. Disconnector will get the first blood. Brilliant with the angles to be able to achieve that kill.
Where's your allowing now, lad? That was a very nice play on the top side to collect a first blood kill up against a jungler going a little bit too aggressive here. You can see YellowBumbleBee, right, I've got smite, I can get 200 health back from this, but goes in, jumps on top, which is again incredibly brazen to a Graves. And you're thinking, okay, Yeoun, just block for me, but there's just enough of an angle with the flash, with the routing of Disconnector, that he's able to find the solo kill, 1 versus 2 in the top side. And now, in case Ornn didn't have a hard enough lane up against a Graves, who's going to be incredibly obnoxious, he's got to try and fight up against double buffs.
This is vengeance. This is absolute vengeance coming out for Disconnector over on that top side as ruthless aggression is expressed into the face of Nausicääa, falling
Never
to
get in
health.
range. That's it. That's your warning.
Never
That's
get in
the
range.
one. You get one where you've got flash to get away. Nausicääa now knows. Okay, if I get in range of turrets and those skill shots hit, I'm gonna die. So caution needs to be exercised next time. Nausicääa's trying to go for these pokes and go for this little bit of chip damage coming through. Naas still fairly low on that health pool total. Started off with the Tear of the Goddess, so doesn't have too many resources to work with in that health pool aspect regardless. It's working up to getting that Muramana Manamune completed very early on. Stacking up that tier quite nicely as well, it has to be said. 75 stacks already. You're almost a quarter of the way there before you've even taken your first base.
That's one of the nicer things about this duo. If you can get the combo, other than struggling a little bit in the laning that they've had right here, the synergistic properties that you have with both the Make It Rain and the throwing down the stun bomb from the Heimerdinger. This is, as you said, it burnt Nausicääa's flash earlier. That was the warning. But this is a tool that can constantly be exploited on the side of UT Austin to try and get something off of Nausicääa, given that the flash has already been burnt. And, I mean, yeah, you have YellowBumbleBee on the Kha'Zix, so that assassin would love to hop onto one of those low-health squishy targets.
And that cycle of summoner spells is going back up after level 6s have been hit. So Just Chatting plus Naas are going to hit level 6. They're going to have that engage capability before Nausicääa's flash is back up and available.
Ooh, under the tower, going for the dive on the DrewDozer, and finds it easily. The chrono break, but can't get away from the turret in time. It's going to be a 1-for-1.
Just barely, not enough. GFP now bot lane.
Dance away from the Skittles. The heal being used out of Naas will grant enough movement speed for Just Chatting to be able to step away, but GFP putting some presence down here in the bot side.
Yep, so our first sort of successful gank, I will say. I don't even want to call what YellowBumbleBee did a gank on the top side, but the first sort of presence shown from junglers here is, a summoner spell advantage is generated. Nuclear didn't have heal regardless, so it's going to be nice to see that that's now matched on the UT Austin side. ISU starting this game out strong. They've got a 1k gold lead already. This top lane, despite those double buffs having gone over, all credit to Yeoun, who's done a very good job at just keeping himself nice and topped off, nice and sustained in that farm category as well. 5 CS down up against a Graves that got doubles. I'm more than happy with that.
Was able to grab that early Bramble Vest and shoving him in, Disconnector. Still farming so well, but yeah, as you said, Yeoun's keeping up with the farm. That's a big thing. Disconnector will have lane priority towards this side, so just establishing some of that's going to be very nice for GFP more than anything. Less for the invades and just knowing that he has a safe jungle he's able to farm.
Yeah, I mean, very good, early laning phase, and to the credit of Disconnector as well. He's gone for this lethality build, so isn't building for the lane, right? Nobody's looking at an Ornn and going, yeah, I think letality's the move here. He's building to try and take down the squishy targets. Kha'Zix, Ekko, Misfortune, and the Heimerdinger. None of them are likely to go for that armor too early, and you can see in the gold difference just shown on the bottom of your screens here that there is a little bit of difference in favor of that top lane, that first blood gold. Pretty much the majority of that top lane differential.
Look at all this poke now starting to come out from the bot lane of UT Austin. Utilizing both this Misfortune and the Heimerdinger. I mean, Make It Rain, along with that Arcane Comet, it makes it so easy to hit. You can see it right there. It's very easy chip damage to get, but you have to avoid the rockets as well. You have to avoid the stun, and Just Chatting's been really good at landing those.
And you'd hope so. Like I said, coming into the draft, right, if you're picking this blind,
you gotta be confident.
And you're going Heimerdinger support, you better be landing those skill shots. You better show me why. And I always have that sort of aspect of, if they're picking this, they're probably about to smurf or probably be about to be, playing mechanically incredibly well. And that certainly has been the case thus far for Just Chatting. Has just dinged over to level 6, and Nausicääa, as we mentioned, still no flash.
Oh, here we go. DrewDozer engaging onto Just Chatting. The Requiem song being sung gets a kill for Illinois State University in the bot lane.
And you get to see right there that they just simply avoid the turrets, and all of a sudden it becomes much more difficult for this Heimerdinger to really play League of Legends. Now there is YellowBumbleBee just lurking here in this brush, hasn't been spotted on any wards, and he is level 6. He may be able to go for a bit of a play.
Ooh! Oh, skin of the teeth there. But yeah, here comes the play. Jumping in, looking to finish up the kills onto Nausicääa, onto Nuclear. There's the shield. YellowBumbleBee gets the kill in time.
Okay, really well played. Uses the stealth actually to just assault into that brush, and before it's too late, gets on in. Nuclear burns the flash, finds 1 kill, doesn't find 2, which would, you know, be perfect situation, but will be more than happy to have taken 1 anyway. He's forced to jump away as GFP just shows a little bit of presence, but now with this Drake having spawned already, been ready for a couple minutes now at this point, they may well look to have Illinois State try and pick that one up.
See GFP over towards that Drake. Has control on that side of the map. Yeoun now setting up the Call of the Forge God onto DrewDozer, looking for the knockup. Will find it as Cry now starts to walk into that direction, slamming into the tower. DrewDozer gets assassinated. Cry now walks out, but here is Nausicääa providing the snare, providing some damage. Still looking for the ultimate of Cry now. It is available as the long road out is being taken. There's no one else here to intercept his escape, so he's finding his escape. It's gonna be easy. He will get out.
Yeah, really nicely played. I guess the dive under the turret, and DrewDozer once again coming up just a little bit short in this instance. You know, flashes a second, like a millisecond too late, and allows the flash from Cry now to come through. If he gets that flash, you know, like I say, that split second earlier, he actually gets away, and Cry now can't find the trade kill, and he can maybe even take down the Ornn instead. But just those games of microseconds as really good to see the nice roam from Yeoun. Recognizes that he's not going to get anything top lane, and happy to sacrifice a plate or so for that Ekko to get a second kill.
It's another day in the office for DrewDozer, though. We said it. Early laning, it doesn't go that well. He usually gets picked on in the laning phase. This has kind of been ISU's constant weak point. You're just hoping that DrewDozer can leave that stage as fast as possible. One of the fastest ways towards that is going to be for a fight with this package. DrewDozer now setting up onto Cry now towards the mid lane. Ult's available for Cry now. I'm not sure he wants to take this one a little bit too much there. Parallel Convergence going to be popped. Watching the package, though. DrewDozer trying to pick a target.
Oh, he picked mid lane. Just sort of a little bit of poke, I suppose. Chip damage to go down and maybe make Cry now a little more hesitant to go for any sort of plays. I wonder if they were planning on doing a play around the Rift Herald, and that's why the Herald got picked up bot lane.
Now waiting for the Requiem. It's not going to find anything. No kill going to go through. The threat
Flash
is there.
Plus heal. Okay, Flash plus heal expended for Naas on the bot side, so those summoner spells no longer available means that dive capability is certainly there, and you can see GFP. The power of Requiem, of course, is that it doesn't hide your location, but it doesn't show you where they're coming from, and now he's walking down here, wants to make sure that this wave is denied, but Bullet Time is going to do a pretty good job at preventing that one instead.
Yeah, looking for the dive. GFP. The backside of the tower, puts down the wall of pain, doesn't get the slow on the just chatting, tries to go after Naas instead. No minion wave crashing to the tower yet. It is going to be extended to be able to take this down, but there will be no jungler intervention. Focusing over towards the Herald. It's not enough, though. Just chatting will live.
Disconnect on the top side. Tried to take away the Herald, but YellowBumbleBee, you know, walked in, said, no, thank you. You know, you're not getting two things on both sides of the map. We will take that Rift Herald away from you. And Disconnector, you know, resumes his top lane farming privileges and is able to continue on keeping this CS at about even, you know, on that top lane. Overall, a really nice play on the bot side, has to be said, from ISU, just eking out these small advantages where, you know, they force the misfortune off a turret, force a little bit of experience to be lost down the drain, and a wave missed is, you know, a wave earned on the other side, where Nuclear is going to have that slight advantage. You can see about a 2-wave lead in the farm department right now, be that through just laning outplays or that extra wave going their way.
For Illinois State University, they are still putting their attention towards this bottom side of the map. You can see a lot of control coming out from their vision towards this bot side. It's a minute 45 before the next Drake does hit the map. So this is going to be useful, definitely. Still trying to get the wave push in, but this has been a difficult lane to really shove. The Misfortune and the Heimerdinger are so good at constantly keeping this shoved, at keeping this wave state really in the hand of UT Austin.
Yeah, and I mean, we're at this sort of slow early game where we're moving now toward the middle of this matchup, and good point to take stock. I might not get to, though, because we do have YellowBumbleBee just on his way here to the bot lane. We want to get rid of this vision so that he can, you know, make these moves and use the Herald down here.
Oh, using the stealth, he's going to jump in onto Nausicääa. There's the bullet time. The support of ISU dismantled.
really well executed here. Once again, using that Void Assault to get in without being seen, without being detected. And now you're going to be able to collect a load of plates, inject more gold into Naas than he was denied a couple seconds ago on that wave. Just a second before the platings fall as well. You love to see it. Maximum efficiency from the Herald. Both of the mid laners just jockey down to make sure that there's no shenanigans further afoot. And then overall, not too much outside of that quick kill plus Herald usage. But again, it's just really nicely played as Nausicaa thinks, okay, well, let's not give them this turret for free or this ward for free. And in the midst of a bullet time, in the midst of all of Kha'Zix's damage, there's really no chance for a little karma.
And how close he was able to get before the gank started. YellowBumbleBee utilizing that stealth beautifully. Now Dragon spawning within the next 10 seconds. Illinois State University are going to be the ones to get priority over here. Establishing deep vision into UT Austin's jungle. You do have a lone nuclear is shoving in a wave in that bot side. Still want that mid lane controlled, but it will belong to ISU.
And with double TPs expended, one of which was up to the top lane from UT Austin, they are saying they don't want a part of this dragon. They're accepting that at this stage, we're not in a position to take any fights, but the scary thing is, the later this game goes, right, we have Karthus, we've got Corki, Ezreal. You don't really want to be playing for that turbo late game scaling aspect for a misfortune and for, you know, a Heimerdinger support at the end of the day. These champions are going to have their sort of fall off start to come through that time in which they're going to be the most effective. We're starting to reach the end of it, unfortunately, at this point, and right now ISU can just continue to play this waiting game, continue to pick up their objectives if they're going to be given to them.
With the ticking time bomb, Requiem being popped. Looking at the health bars over on the side of UT Austin, not too much really done with that Requiem, just
buffing the damage.
Yeah, just buffing the damage.
Buffing damage dealt. The more ults you cast, the more damage you deal. Forehead. That's the... I guess with no objectives on the board, you're kind of banking on your team not particularly fighting. So there's no real harm here until somebody else fights, and then you think, ah, wish I had Karthus ulti right now.
I like you say that as DrewDozer just runs right on in.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for the
There's
fight
a little bit of chip damage. I'm going in, boys. This is me. We Karthus ulted. I got to get you the assist.
Level 11 picked up by GFP, so he has a level 2 Requiem now, next time that comes off cooldown.
That is true. Gonna be hitting a little bit more. I think that Naas is fine here. Should be okay. I wanted to address where the kills are for both of these teams, because UT Austin, right, we talked about the assassins on their team. They are the best champions to kill the backline, to kill the marksman, the Ekko and the Kha'Zix. They've got 3 of the 4. So overall, right, we're saying UT Austin there, they have this sort of rough late game, but it's a good start at the very least to have the kills in the right place. If they have any way of, you know, win this late game, it's by one-shotting somebody and taking down this Ezreal, Corki, Karthus, whoever it is, before they have a chance to respond. With Karthus and Ekko being the ones with those kills, and Cry now has had a very good laning phase thus far. It's the kills in the right places, it's the resources being in the correct position.
Oh, right under the tower, Cry now bringing the damage to DrewDozer. It's punished in the process, though, and this is going to hurt him if he wants to aggress later. Now low health, not going to get too much from the Chrono Break. He has popped the Chrono Break, though, and DrewDozer is going to get the 1v1 now in the bottom lane. Trying to survive is going to be just chatting. He's being aggressed on, and Nuclear will Goomba stomp him with the arcane shift forward.
Ooh, heal expended by Naas there to stay alive, and topside as well. Oh, neither one of the top laners getting the best of the other, but Disconnector's got the Vamp from the Eclipse. I mean, he can just hold the wave, and then when that next wave crashes, maybe you can use your dash to get out to safety. They're both going to call it off. Humble top laners here, not battling to the death.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Disconnector. No. He's got to take it now. Come on. Will it go through? There's the Requiem. The song was sung. GFP gets a kill for the top laner.
And he was just baiting all along. Disconnector would have gone for that had there not been a Karthus ulti behind him. We are going to get a replay of that kerfuffle now to see how it all broke down. We got this initial play on screen, and you know, Cry now jumps in, right? Oh, okay, I've got Proto Belt, but then that actual parallel convergence shield drops off incredibly quickly. Just as he starts to go in, he gets a big one on a turret shot all at the same time, and then this dash forward, you know, you're forced to use the Chrono Break there, but unfortunately, no way out, and DrewDozer really, really well spaced, keeps himself out of the Echo Shadow, and as soon as they go forward and gets, you know, pulled back in, flashes forward and chases after, finds the solo kill in a lane that had been very well prioritized by UT Austin. There was a solo kill there earlier under the turret. We got to see yeoun move down and make a play as well. So overall, the fact that DrewDozer is finding these solo kills, given the scenario, very well played.
I told you. I told you. This is a DrewDozer special. we're getting towards the stages where he decides to kind of stop the limp and go onto a full-on sprint, showing in the mid lane. But that's the punishment of the Ekko, though. Like, when you do these commitments, and you do try and jump on to your enemy mid laner, it's rough if you don't full commit. If you don't get the kill, that just wrecks your chrono break for later. When you pop it, you're going to be lower health when you come back to your clone.
It's always that exit damage that you have to fear, right? You either go in for the all-in, and if you can't get it, that's when you start to fear of how much damage they're going to deal on the way out. And unfortunately, in that case, it was your entire health pool. But we have got Nuclear here still, rocking the damage with that completed Essence Reaver, the no Mythic Ezreal passive.
Attempted engage coming through. Here comes the call of the Forge God. It's going to land onto nothing. Nausicääa kind of left by his lonesome. Will get called down by the bullet time. There's the collateral damage from Disconnector, and the package jumping in from DrewDozer. Goes after Just Chatting. Able to take him down. It's a double kill for Disconnector. Focusing his attention onto Cry now as yeoun runs towards his base, but DrewDozer has one more parting gift for him. Sends him a rocket. He's not going to find it. Unfortunately, he'll send him that for Christmas later down the year, but it's going to be a team fight win for ISU, as with the Requiem, it gets the kill onto yeoun.
Yeah, YellowBumbleBee's bought a Hex Drink, so he gets to stay alive off the back of that Requiem, but as we saw yeoun, not so fortunate. GFP has done a great job at farming, killing, and just using that Requiem to collect resources, collect gold, and didn't get stole. That's an enemy in the pit. Cry now, unfortunately, that one's never going to work. Exhaust is very good versus assassins.
Exhaust is a summoner spell, and Cry now has figured out what it does. Big slow, low damage, and unfortunately he goes down in the process. Dragon still secured in the grand scheme of things by GFP. That's the third Drake of the game, just one more shy of Dragon Soul, which weren't expecting to head towards that state, but here we are, Rude.
I mean, 25 minutes in for a Dragon Soul, obviously the fastest that we've seen thus far. We are going to get another chance, though, to take a little look at that fight that we saw just a few moments ago that led to all of this. And, you know, good initial poke from Nuclear, but then you have yeoun, you call the Forge God, you pull the trigger and say, now is our time to fight. Nausicääa is the one who's, you know, left as sacrifice to begin with, and they don't really mind sacrificing the Karma's not the biggest threat, because they get Naas on the back, that exit damage, the long-range poke comes through, and all of a sudden when DrewDozer flies on in, he does enough damage to allow the rest of his team to mop up, to sweep in, and with nobody else there ready to collect on this DrewDozer Corki flying on in. YellowBumbleBee just not even mispositioned, but going for a different target. Overall, does not bode all that well. As you can see, first strike plus life is very sad times for one who lives on 10 HP.
There's just so much damage provided by ISU. All these marksmen that they've brought are getting their income, are scaling up. Disconnector, more so than anyone else who's really dominated over on that top side, was able to get that tower and just farming up so well against yeoun, who, as I said earlier, he was definitely feeling a little bit bitter about that fight that happened before. Yeah, that was a little bit ambitious, but gotta respect him. Gotta respect DrewDozer, who's going for the kill onto Cry now. Cry now with the slither of health. Now YellowBumbleBee waiting for someone to walk into his trap. True
he walked into it!
He walked into it, Rude. No!
Oh, I'm getting game 1 or game 2 flashbacks of the Alawi tentacle. Drew?
Oh, Drew. What are you going for right here, Drew? Okay, Mortal Shield Bow. He's got a shield. He's fine. A little bit ambitious right there, but this is still Illinois State University, who have prime positioning to go for this Baron. Yeah,
and it looks like this game is starting to snowball a fair bit here. 4 kills on your Karthus, no deaths there. You know, your only deaths are on your support plus DrewDozer. That was very early on. He's got that bounty still sat over his head. Baron's gone over. yeoun's gone down as well. Ornn for good measure, I suppose. But right now, ISU, they're starting to run the rift. They are, with this Baron in tow, most likely going to be able to break open that base. There's one thing that a Corki plus Ezreal are going to do very well. It's poke at you under a turret with a Baron under siege. So any sort of split push capabilities that come through as well. There's a Last Whisper built up for Disconnector plus that Black Cleaver, so you're going to do exceptionally well in the side lane. Nothing too poor to come for Illinois State. We talked about this late game composition, if it could get through the early, and they've sure done it.
And for UT Austin, every time they try and get a team fight, it's completely denied from them. ISU are not clumping. They're not a team that wants to clump together. They're a team that wants to spread. They're a team that wants to seek and destroy. Nuclear finding Naas, the marksman of UT Austin, down on a Baron-empowered siege in the mid lane.
Yeah, now with no AD carry, that bullet time was probably going to be used to clear out one of these waves. It's simply not going to be the case. Just chatting is 20% HP. YellowBumbleBee can never jump into this. There's a Karma there. Graves is here.
Still able to find the knockup. Here comes the engage from UT Austin. Disconnector's running low, trying to back off. Here comes the Requiem. It will be sung. One falling down. It's going to be another one falling down as Illinois State University are going to look to clean up low health bars for UT Austin as Nuclear tries to find the Arcane Shift forward onto Yeoun. Yeoun will be able to squeeze on out. True Shot Barrage does not land. But here is ISU in the base of UT Austin, and they're taking inhibitors.
The damage has been done here. Decerux, one inhibitor in the mid lane goes down. They may not want this one in the bot lane. Last stand, call the Forge God.
This is done. Here comes the call of the Forge God. It's on the GFP. He's on the Karthus, so he has the passive. He's going to burn down Cry now. It's a 1-for-1 trade as Cry now falls. Still YellowBumbleBee waiting to come off that respawn. 2 inhibitors down. Illinois State University take the reset.
The game isn't over though, and UT Austin live to fight another day. That stand was enough to warrant ISU not going for the Nexus. They take down the jungler, and that is a big injection of gold, all things considered. UT Austin, like I say, still in this game, but I don't know that this could get much harder. They have one last chance, really. This dragon in 20 seconds time is going to be that do or die for them. There's an opportunity with a smite on their side that they can take the Drake. The question becomes whether they can get away, whether they can take the fight and get out to safety, because there are 4 people that don't want to give this up for free.
Right, Illinois State University walking into the Dragon Pit. YellowBumbleBee will have to flap his wings to get on out of that one. Naas losing 2/3 of his health before the fight even begins. Now just chatting, trying to walk out of this one, has to put down the turret, gets chased down by DrewDozer, and it's that easy for Illinois State University going golden just to show off the trophy they're trying to get in this tournament right here, right now. It's a triple kill for Disconnector. Hopping in will be YellowBumbleBee, but he can't even finish off DrewDozer. He is too big, he is too strong, he is too much of a stud. Illinois State University are going to take this in game number 3.
And they complete the round 32. It takes them all 3 games, but nevertheless, they are going to move on to the next stage of the bracket. ISU, they give us one heck of a series. And all credit to UT Austin for delivering as well, but it is ISU that go forward, they go on, and they're going to battle it out once more in the next round.
Was I lying? Was I lying?
No.
Was I lying when I talked about DrewDozer's Corki?
You are not.
It is die until you just win the game outright. I gotta admit, his packaging, his usage of the package, especially when it came to the mid game, it was a little scuffed towards the early game. Didn't really matter. He popped it off in the mid game. The scaling was there, you know, alongside Disconnector, who did phenomenally well, who definitely got his revenge over on that top side. You know, ISU as a complete unit, as a complete package, they were looking pretty good when it came to this game number 3, and the adaptations they needed to make to recover from that game 2.
They really did. And they made all the adaptations in that draft based a lot off of some of the picks that came through, right? They saw Miss Fortune first, and they thought, okay, well, if we can weather the storm of this early game, we should be fine. Let's pick a couple late game scalers. They locked in the Karthus, they locked in the Ezreal, and then all of a sudden, this barrage of early game torrents just started to come through from the Austin squad. You know, they lock in the Heimerdinger support, they opt into another bout of early game aggression, and all of a sudden ISU, their game plan is formulating in their heads, and even without the late game supremacy that we knew they were going to have, they're able to win out on the early game and quite handily just play around the tools that had been drafted against them.
So we bid our farewells to UT Austin, and I do want to give a highlight
with a heavy heart.
With a heavy heart, I do want to give a highlight to their mid and jungle duo. I think YellowBumbleBee and Cry Now looked phenomenal in this series, and it was one of the reasons why this was so close.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, YellowBumbleBee had the second biggest carry performance, I suppose, outside of game number 2, where his top laner absolutely 1v9'd on the Alawi. We have to shout out that as well, because it's why we came to game number 3.
I try to forget it. It was traumatizing.
It's too much. That's fine, because Yeoun ultimately, right, he's going to remember that game, right? He may well go out of this series not being able to play the next round, but that's an Alawi game that you're going to remember, right? You play it in the collegiate tournament, you get the 1v9 mega carry, but like you said, credit to YellowBumbleBee, because they had a very good Wukong performance, and it got banned away from them in game number 3. So whenever you draw a ban, there's always that little bit of sentimentality that you think, yeah, that was my fault. I did that.
So we bid farewell to UT Austin, and a congratulations as they improve in the tournament, Illinois State University. We're going to throw it over to the analyst desk. Dylan, you guys, please take this away and break it down, because I know you're tired. Dylan, you need that meal. Go ahead and take it away.
Oh, Decerux, my friend, we have made it to the end of the day. A full 9-game day. How you guys feeling? I mean, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Quite
We
hungry.
made it. Quite hungry.
We're
TJ's been
hungry.
snacking on protein bars.
We
Yep,
got
yep.
we got a lot of great series and out of games that we didn't expect to be. So I think it's pretty cool. I was expecting the round of 32 to be a little snoozer, but I mean we got a hype stream today. 9 games, great series overall.
Yeah, for sure. And, I do want to sort of echo the point that Decerux was making that, UT Dallas, they did put up an excellent fight, right? I know, TJ, you have some things you want to say about them, but overall, I felt like they played very well, and they should be proud of this performance. It's very similar to the second series that we watched today, where it's just so close. You could really see it going either way.
Yeah, I was impressed by the mid jungle play. I think that they played quite well against players that maybe had more experience than they did. They definitely showed up when a lot of people didn't necessarily think that they would. Not those two players in particular, just like the team in general kind of thought that it would be a little bit more ISU favored than it was. So really well played. Like you said, they should definitely be proud that they showed up today and played the way they did. And sucks to lose, but at least you can go forward and say like, we put a good foot forward.
And it was nice to see that they had their own style that they kind of stuck to, although
Yes.
maybe detrimentally, but they got to play their Zed, which is like a big flare for them, and on top of that, the Heimer support that was getting banned throughout the whole thing. It wasn't that great of a Heimer support game, but it was cool to see. It's always nice that these collegiate teams they kind of highlight their players' unique ability and unique champions, and it's really cool to see UT Austin continue to do that.
You love to see it. I mean, honestly, the Heimer support, it comes out, it's not a perfect game for it, but the confidence to pick that when your season's on the line, I mean, it shows a lot, right? And you hope that the players can use this as a learning experience, grow, and we'll more than likely see them back here next year. But we do have one replay to dive into. It is sort of where the game started really swinging in ISU's favor. They were sort of going back and forth in the early game. It was getting a little scrappy, but then a few fights happened, TJ, back to back to back, that really set things in their favor.
Yeah, so here you can see that Cry Now is engaging on DrewDozer. Super interesting play where Cry obviously thought that he would end up winning, but Drew ends up getting a kill here. Well played by the dodge, flash burn, flash trade, really good. During this time, everybody starts fighting. I have no idea what the Heimerdinger is doing here. Maybe he knows something that we don't about Heimer support, but he was definitely trying something. And now that the Kha'Zix has shown, obviously, Disconnector feels extremely confident to continue the fight up top, stalling long enough for the Karthus ult to come up. So I'm not sure how much that was communicated, but really well played. That feels extremely good as a Karthus player. Just be like, yeah, I just get to collect some gold here for free and make that money with Money Karthus. So this was a huge gold swing in the game. And from here, it became extremely difficult, I think, for UT to win just based on what they drafted and what happened during this entire sequence of events. It's kind of like, when you're playing solo queue and you just see like ace at 10 minutes and it's like, sheesh, that's tough.
It's just demoralizing, honestly. As soon as a fight like that happens, just across the board, every lane's losing, falling behind, it does really feel a little bit disheartening. And I mean, the Heimer support, it was Alcove Gaming, I guess. He was down there. I guess he thought he was spotted by the sweeper when he really wasn't, and he had to fight his way out. But we do have a couple more minutes to kill. I mean, honestly, how do you guys feel just about this day in general? It really does feel like there have been so many good series, not only on this Academy stream, but there have been so many good series across all of the different streams for Unified today.
Yeah, I think one of the highlight matches, something that I actually predicted on stream because I thought it would be a match that was a little more skewed based off of like prior results last year, is the Converse versus Bethany match. I actually thought Converse was going to win that match 2-0, and to my not surprise, but to most people's surprise, actually Converse did win 2-0, and they played really well. I didn't get to catch too much of the match from. We're obviously here watching our matches, and all of ours went to 3. They were banger series, so but the little bit that I did get to watch, I think the Commerce players really showed up. They played well, and it seemed Bethany was like a little bit lost. And that's something that Bethany's going to have to restructure and rebuild. They have a great program over there. They have full scholarships. Some of their players I've known for quite a while, and they're good players. So I think Bethany can go back to the drawing board, but a huge win for Converse. I think more or less on like Bethany doing bad, but Converse just playing and showing their player strengths well. They have some really good players, and it's exciting to see them go into their next match. Should be the winner of ASU someone. I don't remember who's playing ASU, but I predicted ASU to win. And that's going to be another fun match because I think ASU is another team where they're really good synergistic wise as a team, but they don't necessarily have as much individual player skill. And Converse is a team that plays trying to do player gap rather than team gap. So it's going to be fun.
I will say on that, as Tyler mentioned, most people predicted Bethany to kind of take a win. Just want to say their coach tweeted something that was hyper based. He was like, "You're welcome for ruining all of your brackets." I thought that was absolutely hilarious, and that is the collegiate drama and spice that we need. So thank you for that tweet. I appreciated it.
Yes, sir. Keep the flame coming. We love to see it. We love to, honestly, I love when Hyper brings those up on the broadcast, our wonderful producer. It always makes me laugh because he never tells us that he's going to throw it up on screen and it randomly just pops up and we've got to make do with it. But we do have an interview with the winning top laner from Illinois State University, Disconnector. Let's get him connected to this call so that we can ask him a few questions. Hello, Disconnector. How are you doing after that series, my man?
Pretty good. After the second game, I was a little upset, but I'm glad that we got the win at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, honestly, that was a really intense series. I don't know if you kept track on this stream at all, but we've gone to 3 games every single series, and this was
Yeah.
this was no different. I mean, you guys really gave us a show, but we do have a few questions for you from the desk. One that I think is particularly interesting is, what are your thoughts on your match tomorrow against UCI? Because obviously we have seen that UCI did win their first round matchup, no surprise there. So what are you thinking going into the round of 16 against them?
The match is next weekend, I think, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
I think we'll be fine. I think the second game didn't really prove how we play as a team because of like the team that we're facing today. They draft very weird champions, so I think we'll be fine. As long as we keep up like the macro that we did in game 1 and 3.
Yeah, I think your game 1 and 3 were pretty clean. There were a couple moments in there that were a little bit scary.
Yeah,
But
getting solo
overall,
killed.
hey, we won't talk about some of those top lane solo queues. Game 2 never happened. Game 2 never happened.
Yeah, that was not fun to play.
So sort of casting our mind back to each of these games, like you mentioned, there were some unique drafts, right? That team that you played against, they have some wonky picks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those drafts? Like, were you guys comfortable in those drafts? Do you think you won those drafts? What were your thoughts as the player?
I think first draft and the third draft, we definitely won. Like we went to the game without any worries because I feel like we scaled harder and we had answers to every champion. The second game, yeah, it was definitely worrisome when I was going in because we have 0 damage or 0.
Yeah.
We have 0 magic damage, and yeah, it was very difficult.
Yeah, that definitely did seem like a tough game, right? Because you've got a full AD composition, you're kind of forced to build AP Gragas, but definitely doesn't want to match into the Alawi.
Yeah, I feel like there's like no winning. If I go tank, then I get
Yeah.
one shot. If I go AP, I can at least clear the wave.
Yeah, I like that thought process. One thing that the desk was pretty curious about, in some of those games, it was really tight calls, really stressful moments. On your team, who's the one really making those in-game shot calls in those pivotal moments for you guys?
It really depends on who has like the go button. I say for this series, it was mostly Nausicääa calling all the shots and like telling us where we want to fight and how we want to fight.
Okay.
So he was doing the majority of shot calling, along with Drew because he was like the most damage dealer. So they try to exchange information to find where to fight.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, right? You want the person on your team that can actually make things happen, the one who's, really calling the shots. And I mean, it made sense, Nausicääa, especially that Thresh game is the one I'm thinking of where he landed
Yeah.
so many good hooks, just like hardcore setting you guys up for great fights. So that was really well played.
Yeah, we had to check his computer afterwards for scripts.
Oh, I love it, man. It's super exciting getting to follow you guys going into round of 16. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to catch it on stream next week. But you have any final thoughts before we throw it over to some closing thoughts for the desk?
We're gonna definitely make it to LA. Shout outs to my parents and my girlfriend. I love you all.
Woo!
Awesome. And yeah, we'll give it a good showing.
Heck yeah. I love to hear it. I love the confidence, man. Shout out to your parents. Shout out to your girlfriend. Hope they're watching right now. I'm sure they are. But, congratulations on that series. A close 2-1, but you guys came out on top, and that's all that matters. We'll see you back on stream next week. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you. All right. We are back to the desk to wrap up day one. Exciting stuff. I mean, we've already said it multiple times. Full 9 out of 9 games potentially played. We already touched on it a little bit. Tyler, when you were talking about the Bethany upset, how they didn't quite win their series when a lot of people thought they'd go a little bit further. TJ, are there any series either from our stream or other streams that stood out to you today to talk about before we, wrap up the stream?
I was pretty hyped for the U of T game today. That was a fun one to watch. There was just so much action, and it was just wild. So that was probably my highlight of the day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the other games from other streams, obviously, because we've been here for 9 games. But I look forward to catching up after now by 4xing through about 30 games before going to bed. So.
Oh my God, committed to your craft, my friend. Tyler, you have any closing thoughts before we close out of the stream?
Yeah, I mean, I hope our series tomorrow and for Harrisburg isn't as crazy as these ones. I'd like a quick 2-0, man. I'm gonna be back on the desk after that. It's been a long day here, but I just love collegiate League of Legends, man. It's always fun to watch, and I think part of today kind of shows that how all these games, even though some of these teams are supposedly very one-sided, anyone can win. And I think that's something RBM emphasized a lot today, and when he was on the desk as well, is that it's collegiate, man. Anyone can win. If you pick Jinx and Ornn from Arcane, then it's just you can just win. And that's what's fun about collegiate. And I think tomorrow is going to be just as much of a banger as today. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here for that as well.
No, we didn't have any collegiate Jarvan. Just need to make that note out because collegiate Jarvan is like the holy trinity there in that.
Oh gosh.
So. Oh, imagine having all 3. Oh my goodness.
You can't lose. No way you lose.
It's collegiate Exodia.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. That Zhonya's Jarvan. I can see it right now. It's gonna happen tomorrow on stream. Well, that's all from us. Thank you to everyone who joined us for day 1 of the 2022 League of Legends College Championship. We had Rebel Fox and Grapes bringing us games 1 and 2. We had Roodood and Decerux bringing it home for us. Thank you to the wonderful crew. We had TJ with me all day, RBM joining us for the first series. Coach Tyler, you were so amazing in these second 2 series. You got to come on camera more often, my man. We are going to be back tomorrow, yes, with you later on in the day. We'll be back at 11 a.m. PST with more exciting college championship action. Don't miss it. We'll see you tomorrow.